So hi everyone, welcome back. And this week, Carol is going to share an anecdote, and the topic is how to deal with people who take credit for your work. Carol, do you just want to remind people again what it is that you do, and then, I don't know, start your anecdote?
Sure. So I am co-host of the podcast, The Divine Breadcrumb. And I also have a private coaching business, more focusing on holistic coaching. And I do some business coaching as well, awareness, empowerment, communication coaching, that type of thing. Mm-hmm.
Great. And so you're going to share your anecdote, your life experience.
Yes. So I think many of us have gone through this, where a colleague takes credit for your work, and it's just never fun, is it? Because you don't expect it. No. And I mean, it's happened to me a few times in my career. I think I've been pretty lucky where it didn't happen a lot, but I remember working on a project with a team of people, and we were actually coming out of a conference room and happened to pass our director in the hallway. So it's a group of maybe 6 of us. And the director said, hi guys, hey, that report that you did, it's really helping with the metrics. So that was something we all worked on together. And here comes my team member. Oh yeah, I worked really hard on that. I'm sorry, what? I thought we all worked on this and all had a task. And I think, you want to say something so bad, but you're kind of just shocked. You don't know what to do.
Right.
So, but it just makes you feel resentful, angry. And yeah, so after that, I had to try to figure out, all right, if this happens again, I can't let this fly. But there has to be a better way to do it.
Right. Because there's a moment where you think, as some people would say, the chutzpah, how would you even, yes. How can you even stand there and do that? There's that moment of, what?
Exactly. You're exactly right. I know myself, I wouldn't do that. And I think most people wouldn't. And I think what I've come to find out is it really isn't this personal vendetta. I think there's certain people that really have that need for significance and recognition. And it's about them. And okay, how do I navigate this in a way that it doesn't happen anymore, but maybe help them without being patronizing or, having this big, confrontation.
Creating disconnection. Right.
Exactly. So I think for me, one of the things I learned from that was the good old CYA, just cover your butt, because there's some people that are just, some colleagues are a little unscrupulous. That's just, you're going to run into that. So in those team situations, one of us we would volunteer to kind of take notes on the meetings and send those to the director so he would know, who worked on what. But the other thing is, if it's something that happens more than once, and this happened one time, it wasn't the same situation, but another situation similar. And after the meeting, I pulled the person aside and said, look, come on, I value what you do, but I worked really hard on this too. And the next time this happens, I'm going to call you out because, and just never confronting people in front of a group is one of my tips, because you're going to make yourself look bad. You're going to look defensive. Right. And like, you want credit. It's kind of that, no, he didn't do the work, I did the work. Now that you've just done the exact same thing.
It's petty.
Yeah, it becomes a petty thing. So I think really pulling people aside, having a conversation, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I think if it happens once, I'm willing to probably let it go. But if it happens more than once, that's when I need to address it.
Right. Yeah. Yes, what comes up for me is, first of all, just to tag on, it's probably not in the right order, but just to tag on to what you just said and build on it. There are times when we need to stop and assess how important is this particular situation, and to learn to let go. That doesn't mean that you let go with the person, but you let go in that moment.
Yes.
Let them take the credit if it's not that big of a deal.
I think if you're a leader who's really in tune with your team, you're going to catch on pretty quickly to the people who are kind of tooting their own horn and not really being team players.
Yeah.
And you kind of take it with a grain of salt. But I guess if you're seeing this in a colleague where they're taking credit and your leadership is not seeing what's happening, that's when I think some of the tips that I'm talking about, kind of covering your butt in a good way where it's not making anyone look bad, but hey, this is what we accomplished today, that kind of thing. Having a talk with them if it comes to that. But also, to put a positive spin on it and let them know, I appreciate the work you do too. I just want that equal respect. I want the team to have that, equal respect.
Right.
And if they get upset, I think as long as you're doing it in a respectful way and they still get upset, at least you've had the conversation. Resentment's not going to be building up.
Right. I think there are several aspects here, and we can look at it from me as a team member, and it's happened to me, and also me as a team leader. How do I not allow this kind of thing to happen in my team?
Yeah.
So there are several things that I would look at. The first one is whether I'm the team member or the team lead. This would show me that there's a lack of clarity of roles and responsibilities. So perhaps the next time, if I'm an employee, I'm going, as you say, cover your butt by saying, you know what, next time there's a project or next time there's a meeting, let's make clear who's covering what point, and make that like it's on email, it's been sent in advance, so everybody knows what I'm working on, what you're working on, and it's about the team. But that it's clear. So roles, responsibilities, accountability, next steps, that's clear. That's one.
Absolutely.
As a team leader, if I didn't notice this, somebody could bring it to me. It wouldn't be a problem.
Yes.
Or in your own team meetings, say, well, Carol really worked hard on this. Well done. Or in moments of celebration, maybe this is exactly what needs to be instilled.
Yeah.
Because if that's happening, it means that somehow as a leader, I'm pushing people to compete against one another, which might be the case in sales teams and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
The other tip is, as somebody preparing a project, if this has happened once and you don't want it to happen again, the suggestion would be to make sure that you, two things, you chime in. If somebody's taking credit and you have extra information, chime in. Because if you've prepared, you're likely to have had the conversations that, this person who's taking credit doesn't have all the details for. So then you can chime in, and then without making them look bad, you will automatically look like the expert.
Yeah, good point.
That's one thing, is to show that, yes, I know my stuff too. I'm not going to put you down, but hey, I have a little more detail on this.
Yeah.
The other one is to make sure that it's on email in advance.
Yep.
So I'm working on this thing. How does everybody feel about it? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it can't happen afterwards.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
And I totally agree with that. And that's where, for me, documenting everything is, sometimes you just have to.
And I think we have a huge coaching tool that we use a lot in systems coaching, which is designing the alliance. So you can go to that person. Yeah, and you could play the game. If you read articles, it often says why. You go to that person and ask them why they said it that way. Call them out. But to me, there's a bigger way of growing from it, which is to say, can we agree how we will be in our next project, in our next way, so that this doesn't happen? Because as much as I know that you work hard, I didn't appreciate being in a situation where it looked like I didn't.
Right. Right.
right?
Exactly.
So let's decide between the two of us how we present it and how we collaborate and have each other's backs.
Exactly. I think that's so important. And coming from that calm place,
Mm.
and I think anyone who's pretty seasoned in business knows, don't try to have the conversation when you're angry or feeling resentment.
Right.
Just
So
a
that should have
day,
been
2 days, whatever it is, just
right.
bide your time until you're feeling like you can come from a helpful, constructive.
Right. So that should have been tip number one. Rewind. Tip number one, calm down, breathe. And don't forget in the breathing part that it's the exhale that makes you calm down.
Yes. And yes. And this is one of those examples before you're going to have a conversation like this. Yeah. Get yourself in that centered space. And it makes such a difference.
Yeah.
In how you show up to a meeting.
Absolutely. And we can laugh about it now, but I can tell you, I have often not laughed about it.
No.
But I wish I would have had tips like this, because then I would have come in not feeling like I have to fight or I have to be defensive.
Early in my career, I was very introverted. I didn't want any kind of confrontation. I was, we've talked about this, labeled sensitive or too soft or whatever it was. It's funny, like a lot of the traits that are now valued a lot more today, but they weren't so much back then. So I kind of got the same feedback.
So if we were to summarize, it would be calm down,
yeah,
breathe through it, go away. Measure in the grand scheme of things. Is this so important that I can't let go? If I can let go, it's better. And then how do I avoid it happening in the future? So is there some kind of roles and responsibilities to clarify? Is there something that I should be writing and telling everybody I'm working on? Or is there something I can design with my colleague and sort of say, how do we do it so it's not like this? If I'm a leader, how do I make sure it doesn't happen? So, yeah. Do you have
summary?
Is it good? Okay, it's done. Now I'll throw my little points. Good. So I guess that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Okay, this was fun. Thank you.
That's a wrap. And we'll see you next week where I'll do my anecdote, and we'll see if you give us any feedback on something else that you'd like to hear. That's good.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from people what topics you're encountering in your workspace. If there's anything we can help with.
Yep. And we are going to publish a list of our ideas and perhaps ask you to vote and see which one we should go for first. Yes?
All right.
So thank you and see you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.